Hello there, magic practitioners of all shapes and sizes. My name's Chance, and thank you so much for using my spellbook. Alright, let's get started. On the second step to our cantrip journey, we have Blade Ward. The first one was Acid Splash. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. If not, let's get going. This guy is usable by the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard spell sheets, so most of the spellcasters, and it is found in the player's handbook, so everyone should have access to it. Alright, well, let's take a look at the mechanics. So cast time, only one action, which is standard for most cantrips. Range is self. Duration is 1 round. The effect is resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Now there is a caveat to that, but I'll get into it later. The components are somatic and verbal, which means not only do you have to speak it, but you have to gesture your hand as well. And the school is Abjuration. Alright, now let's do a quick description. I'd like to start by actually reading the spell aloud, just so we're all familiar with the terminology. You extend your hand and trace a sigil of warding in the air. Until the end of your next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks. Now, weapon attacks is the key word there, and it is the one phrase that turned this cantrip from pretty good into not that great at all, especially at lower levels. Alright, so essentially what it breaks down is slashing damage, piercing damage, and crushing damage. You take half damage, or bludgeoning damage, sorry, I think I said crushing there, but you take half damage. That's what resistance means. If you already have resistance to any of these damages and you cast Blade Ward on it, you'll have immunity to those damages, which is pretty cool in the right context. So with some magical items, you might have a pretty good chance of using it. Now, let's get into some alternate uses. So imagine you're with a group and you break a law. And as your punishment, you either have to get lashings, or have to get hit, or you have to get arrows shot at you from some of the guardsmen in order to repent, or something of those natures. That would be a great time for you to cast Blade Ward, especially if you're a squishier character and your AC might not be the highest. And I know it says that it has to be dealt by weapon attacks, but I would homebrew it so traps would be allowed in there. So if you're going down a dungeon and you're one of the squishier characters, then I would cast it on myself. If your DM allows it, that'd be great. And another interesting use I saw for it was getting the most bang for your buck when it came to Armor of Agathist. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So a lot of warlocks, some Gish mages, and Eldritch Knights might be able to take advantage of that. In addition, the Eldritch Knight might be able to take even more advantage of it because they get that extra attack, right? So that might be one way to do it, and they also get Action Surge, might be another good way to do it. But for most characters, I couldn't really imagine playing with this a lot. Like, circumstantially huge upside, but overall, I'm not too sold on it. If you have any creative uses for it, I'd really like to hear it down in the comments below. With that in mind, guys, thank you so much for tuning into my spellbook, and I'm looking forward to doing the next one.